basically says that somebody should review changes to the computer master file of prices. Somebody should internally verify. And I agree with that. But, the only thing I want to say is this, but when you're trying to cut payroll costs, you might have a tendency not to do that. Or maybe do it on a sample basis.
Or have one person do all the work.
The trouble is, if I gave you 300 items to input, I mean, you're certainly a competent person, but you're going to make a couple mistakes. It's inevitable. You know, a transposition error when you're typing in 298 instead of 289 or something. It's inevitable. You know, now a computer with software won't do that, but someone's got to enter the initial data. Okay, number 2, which I got to flick over here. Oh, there it is. Okay. A vendor invoice was paid even though no merchandise was ever received. Well, you can see the problem here right now. The account payable software application does not require the input of a valid receiving report number before payment can be made. For A, proper authorization of transactions and adequate documents and records. Adequate documents, so proper authorization of transactions, adequate documents and records. B, Lena?
Recorded transactions exist.
Yes, all right.
I'll never forget that one.
And the third part, of course, is we should have accounting payable software that will only allow the creation of a check when there is a valid receiving report number.
That's for B, right?
For C.
Oh, C. Oh, wait.
Remember Lena for B.
I'm gonna come with a t-shirt that says that.
I forgot. I was so busy laughing at it. I'm like, wait, we skipped one.
Yeah, you want software basically that will only allow a check to be issued when it's payment to a vendor when you have a valid receiving report number. Oh, I love this one here. Employees in the receiving department took sides of beef for their own personal use. When a shipment of meat was received, the receiving department did fill out a receiving report and forward it to accounting for the amount of goods actually received. But instead of going into the meat locker, some of the sides of beef went into an employee's pickup truck. Okay, I'm going to give part of, this is 3. I'm going to give part of A, you give me they have 3. You give me the third one. Part A, 3A, adequate documents and records, independent checks on performance. Independent checks on performance. Well, what's the third one?
Check to see who's a vegetarian.
Good answer, they wouldn't need the beef.
Control over assets?
That's it. Physical control over assets, yes. B, Lena?
Recorded transactions exist.
That's it.
No, only after time.
Now, for Part C, the big, now they have 2 items for Part C, and one of them I think is ridiculous, the other is certainly valid. They're saying use perpetual inventory and do physical counts of beef periodically, certainly. But everyone uses perpetual inventory nowadays. Now, notice here you have to do more. Frequent counts because the beef has a limited life and is going to be in and out of there. But the big area here is I think is the physical control over assets. Restrict access to the loading dock area. We used to say no POVs, privately owned vehicles in the loading dock area.
Yeah. So that was C, right?
That was C, exactly.
Physical control.
That's the key area.
Doing a physical count doesn't necessarily prevent a problem.
Yeah, well, that's true. You could do the count, and then they could take the beef or something
Yeah,
too.
you could do a count every, I mean, you certainly wouldn't want to do a count too often because it's very time consuming, but.
What about a count every shift? Would that help? Would you think that's, delegate somebody to do counting every shift? Do you think that would be time consuming? Or if it's one particular person to keep up with the inventory?
Well, in my last company, when we had material going out,
Mhm.
we obviously had, a delivery ticket, but the person that picked the order signed off on it, and then there was a second person that verified
Good.
what was going out, that also had to sign off on it.
That sounds like an excellent internal control. Definitely
Because now
excellent.
you're responsible too, because you just put your name there, so you
Right.
are saying, hey, I reviewed this is correct, so,
And that's the authorization
Yeah.
type issue too. And the two people, so that's an internal verification as well.
But, sometimes we still had things go out wrong, so it's like, okay, first off, the person that picked it, okay, yeah, they made a mistake, but then somebody else verified it, or supposedly verified it,
Yeah,
and still didn't catch it.
which makes you wonder then,
Are
let's
they-
say that happened a lot. No, it didn't, but let's say that happened a lot. That means that the verification really is not valid
Mhm.
because they're just eyeballing it
Right.
or something instead of actually looking carefully.
They're too busy or something, they're just signing off on it.
Or they've become really good buddies and they, like, I trust
Yeah.
you and it's right, so I'm just
Yeah.
gonna.
Yeah, just invite me to the barbecue so I can enjoy some of the meat.
Yeah.
Okay, number 4, during the physical count of inventory of the retail grocery, one counter wrote down the wrong description of several products and miscounted the quantity.